This country protected me. It made me live on its soil for 30 years. It was home for me. It's all I know. How about I do something for it? And maybe, just maybe, luck will be on my side this time. Luck and God will be on my side. So that's really where it was there. I wanted to stand up for my country that was so misconstrued and thrown under the bus in a way that it didn't deserve.
Welcome to One in Tribe. I am your host, Julie Fidalgo, and today is my 1-year anniversary. And thank you. Mo,
You know why I clap so sincerely? And I'm going to cut you off because I deserve to cut you off after what I'm going to say to you. Because I remember you from day one saying, Mo, I want to start a podcast. Can you give me some tips? And you just went for it. You just went for it. And I can't believe a year has flown by. And with repetitions, it just got way better than how long it took my first year. And I was so proud of you to see, literally, like in 12 months, if you compare the first one with the last one, I think it took me 3 years to get to what you did in a year. I'm so proud of you for that, Julie.
Thank you, Mo. And yes, you had a huge part in me actually getting started. So I want to thank you for inspiring me to take the jump and really do it.
You put in the work.
Yeah. Consistency. I think that's consistency and good work and quality episodes. I think that's what matters.
Unbelievable. It's the eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah.
Not the Palm Dubai. I remember the slogan when I was living in Dubai. It said the Palm Dubai, you know, the Palm Island, the eighth wonder of the world. Consistency is the eighth wonder in the world. It's unbelievable. That and compound interest. But really, you know, fine tuning as you go along is better than any advice anyone will ever give you. So here's year 2, and I'm just so proud of you for sticking with it.
Thank you so much. Well, I am so excited that you're here. I'm going to do a little introduction for you just because I don't feel like you need an introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway for our guests.
I do.
Maybe in the West, they don't know about Mo yet, but soon they will. So let's get started. My guest today is Mo Islam. He is the host and creator of The Mo Show, a Saudi-produced English language podcast that spotlights inspiring voices shaping the kingdom and beyond. Featuring interviews with leading Saudi and international personalities, from entrepreneurs and athletes to artists and diplomats, Mo has built a platform known for its honest, in-depth conversations, focusing on personal stories, culture, and the country's recent progress and achievements. The podcast aims to provide authentic insights into modern-day Saudi Arabia and to change misconceptions about the country and its people. Through his thoughtful interviewing style and curiosity-driven approach, Mo bridges cultures and generations, offering listeners an authentic glimpse into Saudi Arabia's rapidly evolving social and cultural landscape. His work reflects a growing wave of local storytellers, redefining narratives about the Middle East for a global audience. Welcome, Mo, to One in Tribe.
Feels so much better to be on the other side and not to be the person leading with that.
I love it. I'm just really, I am so grateful that you're here and that you are my 1 anniversary episode. And by the way, you were on my vision board. I have to say that.
Really?
Yes.
It's so surreal to have someone use me as an example that, oh my God, I want to get you on. Because I mean, when you're in the driver's seat, I don't think you realize what progress you do when you're just, you know, chipping away. You don't realize, like, when someone says, Mo, you're an inspiration. I was like, really? Me? What did I do? I just, you know, shot some interviews and I put it online. And then my wife says, can you not discredit people that you might be inspiring? Because to them, what you are doing is something that would take them God knows how long to achieve, if they even want to go about achieving it. So just recognize that you've done something special. Take take the compliment, and then be on your merry way. So to hear you say that I was on your vision board, I'm so touched by it, honestly, and I hope I can just, be an example or be an inspiration to the next person as well.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. Wallah. Well, Mo, I always like to start my episodes by having my guests describe themselves in 3 words.
Ooh, interesting. The Libra in me is kind if you deserve it, is an if you deserve it. And the third word would probably be intuitive, for me to be intuitive enough to know the difference. We're just so on the far end of the scale. And I'm just fresh coming off my birthday a few days ago, and just many people are like, "Oh my God, you're Libra, you're Libra, you're Libra." And I think that's one thing that represents us. We can be the nicest. Like, I am the nicest. I feel like I'm a very, very nice and kind guy. Sometimes maybe too nice, although I don't think that should be qualified as a thing. I don't think it'd be too nice. But my God, the podcast was born from someone who made my life a living hell. And he was at the time my enemy. And I'm like, it was like corporate toxicity. And I realized, my God, there's a lot of hate in me to those who deserve it. And looking back, if it wasn't for the anger that I had from what I went through in corporate, the podcast would have never have been born. So again, kind if you deserve it. You'll never see the side of me, excuse my French. But then that, if you do deserve it, and I think it's a good defense mechanism. And just the ability to have the intuition to tell the difference. That's it.
I love it.
You want to be kind to those who deserve it. And maybe, I know we should lead by example, but sometimes you need to fight fire with fire. And by the way, I remember when I stood up to the person who made my life a living hell in corporate, that last year when I was on my way out, but I, toe to toe, you will not speak to me that. It's amazing how quickly people can shrivel up to like a raisin the moment you call them out on their BS. Protect your inner child. Don't take, know your value.
Yeah, I always say that hurt people, right? Obviously, I didn't come up with that quote, but yeah, I think you need to set your boundaries and not take ish from people, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't expect the second word, but you're going with it. So Mo, tell me a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so born and raised in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I was in school up until the age of 11 in Saudi. And then my parents thought it was a good idea to ship me out to boarding school in the UK at the age of 11. So, at that age, you don't really have any control over your decisions or your future. You just go with the flow. So I did, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I became independent. I lost mad weight, maybe because the food was horrific. I let go of the whole being cradled element of how I was back in Saudi. No longer did I have someone to do my laundry. No longer did I have someone to run after me do my homework. When you're in school in England, you're cleaning tables and piling up plates after every meal. So it gave me a glimpse of what real life is. It gave me a glimpse of the importance of, your pleases and thank yous, and being respectful and courteous and punctual. All those things I didn't have. They weren't instilled in me in the high school that I was in Saudi Arabia, and it introduced me to the game of rugby. So 2 years in that prep school, which wasn't easy, but again I loved it. And then another 3 years in a public school called Stowe. Proud to say that although we made fun of him at the time for being one of the best kids in school in drama, he went on to be Superman. Henry Cavill was in school with me there. And after 5 years in the UK, I moved to Boston. I was in New Hampshire for a few years in high school. And then me and you crossed paths when I was in the Boston area for a couple of years of university. So that was my upbringing, schooling, let's say up until the age of 21. And then something happened right around 2003, 2004. I wanted to renew my visa for the US. Grades were scraping C. You know, my name's Muhammad Islam, post September 11th world. You don't look like a Muhammad Islam, you know. When did you convert and why? Truth is, I didn't. So I couldn't get my visa renewed, went to Dubai, did 5 years there, and then moved back to Saudi. And I've been here for, well, years, but in Saudi right now. But I've been in Saudi for the past 15 years, 13 years of which were in corporate, oil and gas, typical. And the last 2 years, I've been doing the podcast full time, which was a dream of mine ever since I started it in COVID. I'll pause.
Yay. And speaking of that, did you always imagine yourself being in media and storytelling?
Funnily enough, there were some examples of when I was younger, uh, enjoying radio class in one of my schools in England. I very much enjoyed DJing for a lot of my growing up years. Maybe because I didn't trust anyone else with the music, but I enjoyed the performance. Obviously, when my cousin Mish was there, he'd be in charge of the music. But when he wasn't, I'd find myself DJing a lot in friends' weddings, birthdays. So there was an element of performing. At one point, I thought I was a football commentator. So again, you know, microphone, people hearing me. But media, no, I was also very timid to. I didn't have a very good experience with schooling. It was condescending. It made me feel less than, and I have a bone to pick with the schooling system until today. You know, I think it's the only, let's say, industry that hasn't really evolved since the Industrial Revolution. You know, you have 20 kids and a teacher, and that hasn't changed. You know, 100 classes, 100, 10, 12 classes up until the age of 16, 17. I think at a younger age, you know, you can determine what you're good at, and it'll be a shame not to focus on what you're good at and using that as leverage and just, you know, doing as many classes as possible for the sake of the system not being changed. I think, you know, there's a big opportunity cost in not focusing on what you're good at from a younger age. So schooling was not favorable to me at all. And that reflected when I got into the workforce. I joined the family business. And I think I was so scared to push the limits to see what else I can do that it took 13 years and maybe the last 4 years of it putting up with a narcissistic psychopath until I said, you know what, enough is enough. And this podcast was born from, hey, let me build something. Maybe one day it'll be the reason why I leave this, toxic ecosystem. And that's exactly what happened. Do I wish that I started a little earlier? Yes. But then my wife, who's my voice of reason, said, but if you started earlier, Saudi Arabia wasn't ready for English content to come out of Saudi. You know, Vision 2030 was born in 2017. We started seeing the effects of it probably post-COVID, 2021, 22. So you starting in 2020 is God's plan if there ever was one. And today I am just so grateful because I can actually say that I have everything I once prayed for. I prayed for two things. I want to take care of my family. And I want to produce episodes. That's it. Just those two things. And as of 2 years, I've been doing just that.
I think timing is everything. And I truly believe that everything happens at the right time. It's like, by the way, I know that you love quotes and I also love quotes, but I just think that you just got to trust the timing of God. He knows best.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easier said than done when, you know, when it's full circle, you can look back in hindsight and say, oh, okay, you know what, now I know. But when you're going through the thick of it, as many people are right now, it's hard to buy into the narrative that this is happening for your own good, or this is God's plan, or, you know, be patient, whatever, fill in the blank. It's hard. And I think patience and perseverance on some level, and trusting God. If you're putting in the work, you can't do nothing. You can't sit on the couch and eat popcorn all day and say, trusting God's plan. No, you got to work for it. You know, speaking of quotes, if it's hurting, I believe. If it's hurting, it's working. And I think that could be applied across many, many things, whether it's in the gym, whether it's in your relationship with your girlfriend or husband or wife, or, if it's hurting, if working on us is hurting, then eventually we're going to get through this. If working on your craft, it hurts. Do I pay my house bills, or do I up my equipment, or do I invest in paid promotions on YouTube? What do I do? That's hell. I was there up until episode 30. Sada, my wife, asked a question that maybe otherwise would have asked 5 episodes in, not 30. How much more money are you going to pump into this? She didn't say that, but is there, what is the return appetite on what you're doing here? So if you believe in yourself and your patience and your chip away and you're consistent, as a fellow podcaster said to me in my early days, it only ends one way. And all I can speak about is podcasting, because it's the only thing I've been successful in. The only thing I've been successful in. But surprise, surprise, it's also been the only thing I've ever been consistent in. I mean, common denominator, it's right there.
Yeah. Was that person Anas? I was rewatching the episode yesterday just to get a little bit of inspiration, watching two podcasters.
Yeah.
And he went to Boston. He lived in Boston as well, right?
Northeast. I don't remember him from those days. Do you recall?
I don't.
No?
I don't. I know another girl that knew him because she also went to Northeastern, but no, I never met him back in the day.
A real deep spirit, and it comes off in his content as well. He's all about having deep conversations. And it was early days for me. It was like episode 60, and he was in Jeddah for something, and I was like, do you want to shoot an episode? And literally a few hours, him and his team, they came over and we shot, and it was so off the cuff and unrehearsed. And, just like today, I think when you just have normal coffee shop conversations that's unrehearsed and off the cuff, good things happen. And maybe that's a nod to the industry as well. One of the reasons why podcasts are so popular, and every other event in Saudi, fortunately, reach out to me, my fellow people in the industry. Can you guys come on and set up a podcast studio? Sure. What do you guys want us to talk about? I don't know. We just, we need you guys there. I think one of the reasons why it's so popular is because, the smaller the crowd, the better the conversation, right? So 2 people being real, being honest, it's almost like a confession, but it's not. And it's not different to any other interviews we've seen, throughout history, whether it's Larry King or the talk shows, the late night talk shows. This really took on a life of its own because it's long form. You're not cutting to a commercial break. No scripts, no pre-approved PR bullet points, no earpieces. I think the more real and natural you can be, and the more yourself you can be, the better the content. I don't know about you, but the moment I realize that I'm not being myself in an episode, in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to tell the guest that the audio was corrupted. If I'm not going to be myself, it probably happened once or twice. But if I'm not bringing it, I never think that the guest didn't bring it. I always think that I didn't bring it out of the guest. And that's something Gary Vee told me. Always point the finger at yourself. Don't ever point it at someone.
Yeah, I think the connection and just being authentic is the most important thing because people can see through it. So I think that authenticity, really being yourself, and connection, right? We all crave connection. And that's why I also love this. I just love hearing stories and connecting with people. And so that's why I too love podcasting.
Especially in today's world. Julie, 15 years ago, we wouldn't spend... Are you on your phone, or do you have your phone next to you?
No, my phone is as my camera.
Being used. Okay, after this conversation, not interview, go check how many minutes or hours a day you spend across Instagram. I don't know if you guys use TikTok there, but just social media in general. It'll probably be between an hour or 2. I know it is for me. We didn't have that. And that's a lot of one-way conversation of just mindless scrolling. I'm talking about myself, dopamine killer, that at the end of it, you actually feel exhausted. 10 years ago, we didn't have that as an outlet. So conversations like this are so important, even though it's in a screen, but it's so important because it engages a part of your brain that can easily die if you don't work it. I don't know what cortex it is, but it can easily die. And you know what? Like, I bet you global averages is 2 hours plus.
I think a lot more.
Yeah, I would chat GPT that right now, but I'm in Russia and chat GPT doesn't work here.
Ooh, really?
But I would, yeah, global averages on maybe on Instagram only is probably 2 hours a day. Imagine what you can do with 14 hours a week to practice. You can become an expert in anything in 6 months with
100.
those kind of hours that you plug in. It just irks me. I don't know if it irks you. It irks me that I spend that much time scrolling. I'm like, I'm so much better than that.
I agree. I've actually taken a break. I started feeling, I'm not one to feel too much anxiety, but late last week, I started feeling anxiety and I'm like, this is not right. And it was because of the scrolling and my algorithm is all politics. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need to stop because that is not, when I open my front door, that is not the world I'm living in.
Good one.
I can't change the world, you know? And so, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Especially with the news, you hit the nail on the head with the news, fear mongering. You know, the reason
100.
why these networks are in business is because they want to scare the hell out of you. Fear sells, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just so counterintuitive to living a positive life if you're constantly seeing, of course, what's in the news the last 2 years has been the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, and my heart breaks for Palestine every day. And I want to see, because I feel like the least I can do is watch, so I can pray for something that I've witnessed. And I'm so happy just to hear, speaking of news, so happy to hear that they came to inshallah, it holds up a peace deal. But for the most part, yeah, the fear mongering is a real thing.
Yeah.
The old saying is, if the news is worthy enough, it'll find you. Don't go looking for it.
I wrote a book called If You Want to Be Happy, and one of the thing is turn off the news.
I want to read this book.
Yes, I will.
So you're Julie, podcaster / author.
I am. Yeah, so it's a easy to read guide called If You Want to Be Happy. And you know how people write self-help books and they're just like 300 pages and paragraph after paragraph, and once you finish reading you're like, now what? I decided to basically do the ABCs using really simple concepts. And it's a 1-hour read. It's also a journal. So you can write down your thoughts. And it's literally ABC. So A is be aware. B is take care of your brain. C is create your life, and so on.
You just kind of mess it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think when you put it in a way that's easily actionable.
Yes.
That becomes a book or a case study or a report or whatever that's worthwhile to read.
Yes. Well, that was my intention, just to make it easy. And I've actually gone to schools and used it as a guide and done like happy workshops with kids.
Amazing. Any other books in the pipeline that you see yourself writing?
Not for now. I'm focusing on podcasting now.
All right. Do you see how I'm flipping it on you a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where this is going to take me. It's funny that you said that it's the only thing that you've been good at because you've been consistent. And I kind of feel the same way. And who knows what my journey is, but I'm just going to keep doing it because I enjoy it.
Have you traveled for episodes yet? Not to flip the interview, but have you traveled?
Not yet, but inshallah, starting next year, because the goal is to do in-person interviews.
Nice.
I already have a couple of people that I've interviewed before that I want to do in person. And yeah, hopefully 2026, I'll be able to actually be there physically with the person because I think it makes a difference. But I couldn't not start because of this, right? Thank God I have the technology where I can communicate with you. You're in Russia right now. It's just, you got to start somehow.
You're such a natural, Julie, honestly. And I know you're a social person from the days in Boston. I do remember how bubbly and positive. You're just, you just a great aura about you. What made you, I don't mean to wear the podcaster hat, what made you decide, my only question that I'm going to ask, 2 questions. What made you decide, I want to do this, is the first question. And second one, did you feel that you got better throughout the last 12 months?
Well, I started this podcast after a trip to Jordan. And last year, I was in Amman. I was leaving Amman. And I was like, I need to tell the world about this part of the world. But Mo, I don't know if you know that I've always wanted to be an actor. And after I graduated Emerson College, I moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting. And I did that for a bit. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want to be an actor. I love myself. I don't want to have to pretend to be other people. And actors are just puppets. The real
So
people in charge are the producers. So I was like, let me go work with a producer. So I worked with a producer for a few years, got to work with Snoop Dogg, Antonio Banderas, Harvey Keitel, Sam Elliott, and had a blast. And then unfortunately, life happens. I left the industry, but I graduated in media. I've always loved media. I've always loved storytelling. I've always loved connection. And so when I had the idea, obviously I watched you. I've been following you since the beginning of your journey. And when I was in Amman, I was like, I'm going to start a podcast because it's media, it's storytelling, it's connection, and I get to be me, which is the best part of it. And I think now more than ever, we know that the Western media has always created a narrative for the people of the MENA region, for Arabs. And I felt a responsibility because I do have Arab blood. I have Lebanese and Syrian blood on my mom's side. I just felt like I think I should do this. I think I would be the perfect person to connect the East and the West and give a peek to the West of the Arab world. And because I've got connections in the Middle East, I just thought I'm going to be that person and I'm just going to do it.
And that's a great segue for us to go to Western press and how much they have propaganded us, how much they have just portrayed us in a horrific light in the last 20 years. But before we go to that, you didn't answer my second question. Did you feel that you got better in the last year?
I think I've gotten better. I know that my set has become better. But I feel, Mo, I've always been a good listener, but yeah, I think I've gotten more comfortable for sure. For sure.
And getting that sensation is so empowering.
Yeah.
Like, wow, because then it eliminates imposter syndrome. You actually feel that, oh yeah, I'm him or I'm her. Yeah, I could do this. Actually, it's me. Yeah. No better feeling in the world than being able to be yourself for a good cause, whatever that cause is, and to make a living off that. I mean, like for me, that's probably up there with the footballers of the world that are, their dream job, favorite game, representing their country or their boyhood club and getting paid for it.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm not there yet. I did start monetizing on YouTube, but we're a little far from that, but it's okay. We'll get there.
Get a coffee partner. Coffee is the easiest entry point.
Interesting.
Coffee partner on the table. So go to one of your favorite places in Dallas and say, this is who we are. And okay, we're only a year old, but, take me under your wing from an early, from the early years.
But I wonder with my subject matter, if it's that easy to get a partner here in the West when it's about the Middle East.
Yeah.
Because I've thought about that. Like, what's my next step? Do I get sponsors? But let's go back to you, Mo. I know you like.
I have a tendency.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Yeah. I got sick and tired. Even when I was, I've been patriotic all my life. I remember from the age of 11 when I went to boarding school in the UK, I'd take my Saudi jerseys with me, flag, distribute it, to my dorm mates and all that. I was crazy. So I was patriotic, and it's something I realized when I started, and people are asking me, Mo, were you always so patriotic? I was like, as a matter of fact, yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you a story that proves my patriotism. If Saudi would lose a game, I'd be depressed. And yesterday we beat a team 3-2, and if we win the next one in 5 days, we qualify for USA 26. So the country right now is like, we shouldn't have gotten to this place, but I'm very patriotic. So when I was in school, and I would get a lot of people asking me, are you from Saudi? You don't look Saudi. Tell us about it because it's so misconstrued. I tell them about it, so the people in my immediate circle had an amazing impression of Saudi Arabia. As far as they're concerned, everyone in Saudi or the Arab world is like Mo. But then you go a few layers out, Boston days, really after September 11th, the Arabs were dubbed the terrorists. And I just thought it was such an unfair dubbing because that word really did not represent my people, my country, my region at all. We are hospitable. We are generous. We are funny. We are the opposite of this, post September 11th era that you guys are painting us to be. So this was what, Julie, 2000 till 2005 when I was there. So I was like, it just irked me and I wanted to do something about it, but I couldn't because media was still centralized. And then Dubai for 5 years, always good there. And then, 2018, I think it was 2019, I saw Rogan and Naval. And Naval was just saying a few things that it stuck me. It like hit me like a ton of bricks, And I said, I think, and he's saying stuff like, end of the industrial revolution is the beginning of the information revolution. Own a piece of a business. He said, not all humans are meant to work 9 to 5. And I was like, my God, does this guy know the story of my life? Like he's speaking to me. I didn't own a piece of a business. I was in the industrial revolution and I was working 9 to 5. But he was saying it, Naval, on a podcast, Rogan, and it was an aha moment. So Rogan, so Naval. And then I saw the dichotomy and them then together on this platform. And I was like, major aha moment. I was like, we don't have Rogan in the Middle East. That seat is currently empty. But Mo, you don't excel at anything. You sucked in school. You wanted to play football for Saudi. You weren't even that good of a goalkeeper. You barely graduated college. You're in the family business and you did okay. You think you're going to do well in this? I said to myself, my English is perfect. I love my country. I'm opinionated and I think lightning can strike. Within a week of recognizing that seat of Rogan is empty in MENA, Saudi/MENA, within a week, the stuff from Amazon arrived, called up my best friend. I was like, I'm starting a podcast. He's like, a pod what? I was like, show, interview. He's like, cool. What time? When? Told him. We shot our first. And we came to edit it and put it together and press play. And we found out that my microphone was off. Oh. I could have rolled over. I could have rolled over and said, told you you're going to I mean, it's not you, Mo. That monkey head in my mind is still there today, by the way. Mm-hmm. So I could have easily said, F this. I knew it wasn't for me. Let me sell the equipment. But I really could not tolerate my life in the corporate world under the person who I told you about. And I think it stung a little bit more because my boss was reporting to my uncle, and my uncle couldn't take my word out of fear of being accused of nepotism. So if anyone said, Mo's uncle, how dare how dare you favor the family members? He can always say, look at Mo. Started in the mail room, and now he's middle management, 10 years. What nepotism are you talking about? Like, I was the example. If need be, I was a hypothetical example. And I was like, you know what? I need to get out of this system, and I don't want to work in another company and start from zero. I want to do this. I believe there's something here. So let's shoot that episode again. Called my friend, like, Mike was busted. I'm so sorry. I need you again. He's like, I'll come no matter how many times you need me to. Okay. And I guess that's the beauty of a best friend. We shot the first one, which was the second one, and we published it. And then since then, we have published an episode every 10.5 days in the last 5 years, amassed 160 episodes, 21 million views on YouTube. And for example, because of the podcast, alhamdulillah, in the last 30 days, I was in Riyadh 3 times, Como, Tokyo, Moscow, all podcast related in the last 30 days. That's wild.
Mabruk, Mo. Mabruk.
Wallah. Thank you, Julie.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, I want to ask you a question. What was your intention when you started the podcast?
To show my country in a light that it deserves to be shown in. Because CNN, Fox, NBC, CBS sure as hell won't.
Mm-mm.
And I saw the power of Joe. I saw CNN, that is a company with 4,500 employees, go toe-to-toe with Joe Rogan. I then realized that this decentralized media is for real. It's power to the people. It's microphones in the hands of few to now in the hands of many. And the quality of your content will dictate whether the podcast lasts or not. And it was a shot in the dark, but I think what I had on my side was two things, Julie. The country was opening up, and by opening up, it needed a marketing angle in English to come out of Saudi, non-governmental guy from the street. Princess Rima and Adil Al-Jubair are the two most phenomenal English speakers I know. They will sell you a bridge if you never wanted one. They're so convincing in what they do. They're epic. But the English speaking guy, non-governmental duties from the street did not exist. Again, the whole Rogan thing, I said that if I chip away, I could potentially, be on that level within that sphere, and 3 years later, I had Princess Rima on, and 5 years later, I met Adil Al-Jubair in Como with a date to shoot with him to be confirmed, his team's words. And that's just, saying that is the most surreal thing ever. So to answer your question, the point of it was to stand up for my country. Somebody corrected me the other day. I said, John F. Kennedy said, it's not what your country can do for you, it's what you can do for your country. But apparently Kennedy didn't say that. It was someone else who said that. We'll fact check it.
Okay.
And that sentence never spoke louder to me.
Mm.
If everyone thought that way, imagine how great your country will be. If everyone thought it's what my country can do for me, imagine how many people will do less for their country.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? This country protected me. It made me live on its soil for 30 years. It was home for me. It's all I know. How about I do something for it? And maybe, just maybe, luck will be on my side this time. Luck and God will be on my side. So that's really where it was there. I wanted to stand up for my country that was so misconstrued and thrown under the bus in a way that it didn't deserve. People say that, yeah, Saudi, what's it doing here? What's it doing there? Saudi, and they hate King Salman Humanitarian Fund, do not like talking about how much money they give to other countries. But if you check in the Islamic world, or maybe even globally, Saudi is one of the highest charity donation nations in the world, but they don't want credit for it.
Yeah.
And again, who Saudi actually is versus their reputation, or the word escapes my mind, perception, who they really are versus their global perception, is night and day. And I wanted to solve for that.
And you were very intentional about making it in English.
100%.
And there was a little bit of backlash?
Till today-ish. Be proud of your Arabic. Be proud of your language. Why are you trying to appease the West? But then I have someone on like, whether it's Gary Vee or Will Smith or, one of the English, Jerry or John Pagano, people that, head giga projects in Saudi, when they see an American and me speaking in English in Saudi, they realize, okay, at least now we can control that narrative. Because these guys could have gone to any other show with, a non-Saudi speaking in English, and we'll just get thrown under the bus. But how about we control, the taps of which our content comes out of? How about we control our narrative? How about we tell people about us and not leave the door open for others to tell people about us through the inception of decentralized and independent media? We can do that. There was an
Absolutely.
opportunity. Now, look, decentralized media could have come in, say, 2005. I would have probably stopped after 10 episodes. There wasn't enough content to speak about Saudi. I actually see myself in the country. So much potential, kind of written off, dare I say, a sleeping tiger, sleeping giant that had so much potential that is now exercising his potential to his full abilities. Saudi, me. I see some similarities. Dare I compare myself to the country? But yeah, from 1980 till 2017, Saudi was quiet. It was quiet. 2017, 2018, with MBS coming into power, who doesn't want a meeting with PIF?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just jump into Saudi Arabia and its transformation, because for so many people in the West, Saudi is so mysterious, right?
Plays in our favor. It's very marketable.
Yeah. But what do you think are some of the most important things that people should understand about the kingdom?
Wow, the people are the most genuine, caring, caring. Sorry, I'm off 2 hours of sleep. Genuine, caring, and kind people I've ever. If you have a flat tire and you're pulled over anywhere, within 60 seconds, someone's going to stop for you, if not sooner. In the middle of nowhere. That's what kind of people they are. How do people who are that kind, and I've heard stories from Paris and her mom, Gail, two blondes who were driving through, the Saudi outback, if you will, the middle of nowhere, places that look like, Death Valley. And I was like, so it was you two and no problems whatsoever, no harassments, because it's not every day that, Saudis in the middle of nowhere see two blondes that look like they just fell off the beach of Baywatch. So did no one even try to say, hey, cutie? They're like, absolutely not. They would give us water. They would pay for our gas. You should speak to Paris Vera if you haven't. Get her on the show.
I would love to.
She will finish my sentences. Pay for their gas. They would give them lunch. Do you need money? What with no strings attached. Like this, you are our guests in our country. And I always said that, we are so hospitable. It's in our DNA. You'll never find a course or a classroom in Saudi that teaches hospitality. But what do people want to know about Saudi is that we are so hospitable. We just, in my lifetime, because I was born in 83, we were never given an opportunity to be hospitable to people from outside of our country, because it was very difficult to visit for all of my growing up years. Very, very difficult. And today, 88 countries can get a visa online through Visit Saudi within 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes. When I went to Japan 2 weeks ago, the process took 3 or 4 days. Russia took 3 or 4 days. And I was like, that's pretty cool, compared to, those countries that have had, tourists for a very, very long time. It takes us 5 minutes to get a visa, and it's emailed to you, for I think 88 or 98 countries qualify for that program. So that opening up, Ministry of Culture with all their events across arts, culture, film, Ministry of Sports having hosted 200 world-class sporting events in the last 4 years. So it's like Ministry of Tourism had to sort out the visa issues and had to provide hotels and infrastructure. Ministry of Culture had to, invest in culture-related programs and activities and events. Ministry of Sports had to do everything in the sporting world. You can get all these people from 99 countries, but when they come to Saudi, there needs to be things to do. There needs to be an infrastructure. There needs to be, so it all had to work. So many verticals had to work in tandem. And for the last 7 years, anyone will tell you, the growth of the country, both above ground and below ground when it comes to the infrastructure. The last 7 years was more than maybe the last 70 years, Judy. It's something else, really. I am just, the other day there was an event. I mean, the conference, we have too many conferences. Okay, there are not enough days a week for conferences. But one of the funniest conferences that I've heard of was a conference that gets people together to discuss and to alleviate sandstorms. And you're talking like it's a full-blown hotel conference room, 300 people, and it's to combat the frequency of sandstorms in the world. Saudi would get 6 or 7 per year. And now with the Saudi Green Initiative of planting 10 billion trees by 2030, the number of sandstorms went from 7 to 8 per year to 1.5.
Wow.
Through this initiative that lasted 3 years through the Ministry of Environment and something. So everything down to sandstorms, that's what we're having conferences about. Not AI, not tech, not space, but sandstorms.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with the Vision 2030, right? So what are some of the changes that stand out the most to you?
Women being integral to society in every way possible. In my growing up years, something as simple as the airport in my home city, Jeddah. Today, I think the airport is run, and I'm talking every touch point from check-in to security to duty-free to boarding the plane to people within the airline industry, whether it's first officer, captain, co-pilot, stewardesses. The number is close to 70% females. 7 years ago, across the board, women in the workforce was under 5%. Today, it's approaching 40. So I think that's, when I look at my mom, my sisters, my wife, my daughter, who's 3 years old, it just makes me very happy that females have all the rights that I had growing up. If anything, they have it better than we do because they are put on a pedestal today. And I'm fine with that because we had our opportunity for the longest time. And I'm happy that they have just as much opportunity and then some. And to be honest with you, like when I'm dealing with an entity or a company, things move quicker when it's a female on the other side handling my case. They just have, sorry, gents, but they just have a different kind of hunger when it comes to getting stuff done.
Yeah, and I think compared to what it was like, I mean, and we can cut this out if you want, but I think a lot of people don't know that women couldn't drive until 2019.
Yeah.
Women
Don't
needed
cut this out.
permission. Huh?
Don't cut this out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So women couldn't drive in Saudi until 2019. Women needed permission to travel either from their husband, their father, or their brother.
Or even stay in a hotel.
Or to stay in a hotel?
If you're going to another city like LA, New York, Jeddah, Riyadh, you can't check into a hotel in Riyadh unless you have a permission slip from your husband or father. Or if you don't have a husband or father, and my mom went through this, your son would be your
guardian
guardian on some level. Yeah. There was so much that needed reform, so much. And Adil Al-Jubair, His Excellency Adil Al-Jubair, speaks in length about this, and nobody can articulate it better than him. But away from the Women Empowerment Initiative, there was so much effort in the judicial sectors as well, rewriting laws that were maybe dated, introducing new laws, reforms over there, reforms in education, reforms in the housing sector. There was a big disparity within the housing sector of the number of Saudis who were renting to being homeowners. Today in Saudi, if you are married, you are in a system where you're getting a house in X amount of months. I don't even think it's a year. It's X amount of months, you get given a house. Like a whole mortgage system that's done through the Ministry of Housing. That in my younger years was never there. And now the percentage of Saudis that are renting in the country, don't quote me, but it was around 80, 90. Today it's like 10, 20. So so much away from, obviously, the bells and whistles is the entertainment, the cinemas, the women driving, these Maldivian resorts opening to the tune of 40 up in the Red Sea. But there's a lot, maybe unsexy, let's say, reforms that have happened behind the scenes that not many people are talking about, that maybe I need to brush up on my knowledge when it comes to what's happening there. So, when you're doing something for the longest time, Julie, it's hard to steer a cruise liner, but when you have a 40-year-old gentleman that realizes that this needs to change, we cannot keep doing something just because we've been doing it that way. We saw the rise of nations nearby with less to their name, and we woke up, we were like, all right, I mean, if we put our heart and soul to this, we can lead the world in anything we want to. Hence, Vision 2030 was born. And I always said Vision 2030 doesn't have a slogan, but if it did, I would say it would be Vision 2030. Whatever can be better will be better. And what a beautiful, see, I love my quotes. What a beautiful quote to live your life by.
Yeah.
Whatever can be better will be better. Whether it's toxins you put in your body, whether it's your weight, whether it's, what are you reading, what are you watching, what are you eating? Can you better yourself? What can be better? You know what? I know for a fact I'm 7 or 8 kilos, although I lost recently 12. I think I could lose 6 or 7 kilos, 15, 16 pounds, so I can start seeing a six-pack. Like, I know that can be better. I'm calling myself out on it. The country did the same thing.
And Mo, are the majority, because it's a lot of change very quickly for a society that was so closed. Do the majority of the Saudis support this initiative?
I think early years, I heard it early years when it was just announced. People didn't understand, because you need to know that when Vision 2030 was announced in 2017, that's not when they thought of it. They were and I know, I've spoken to people who worked on the vision. They were working on it for 4 years, 5 years of underground, unsexy work, where they're talking about the pillars, the KPIs, who's going to head which entity, the how. So when they announced it in 2017 and it was implemented then, the plan was already there. A lot of projects were announced in my younger years that didn't come to fruition. So people did meet it initially with are we really going to see change this time? And honestly, one of the primary reasons why MBS is so loved is because he changed the game. It's no longer a computer-generated images, and that doesn't come to fruition. No. 2025 is a year where 3 of the giga projects in Saudi are handing over assets. Red Sea Global, Dir'iyah, and Qiddiya.
Okay.
So Red Sea Global is a Maldivian 40, 50 resorts. It's gorgeous, by the way. Qiddiya is Six Flags meets Disneyland, meets Disney World, meets Raging Rivers, meets Knott's Berry Farm on steroids. Okay. And Dir'iyah is the birthplace of Al Saud, mud brick houses with unbelievable AI nanotechnology that looks like something that fell out of the sky from Silicon Valley, but it's done in the old school mud houses way, which is an incredible project. So these 3 assets are handing over as we speak. This would never be something we'd see 10 years ago. So to answer your question, do people think that it's too much too soon? Did people understand it? Early years, 2018, 19, up until COVID? No, there was a lot of, we don't know what this is. Is this for real? Or is it not? What is it about? You can't blame them. They've never seen anything on this scale. But now it's undisputed.
And people are easily adapting.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the majority of the country. I'm talking about, the people.
Well, the majority of the country, 60% is under the age of 40, and 50% under the age of 35. So the elder statesmen of the country maybe aren't so close to what's happening in the control room in terms of contributing to the vision. I think they're just happy that their kids are happy doing what they're doing. I mean, when you graduate college and you want to enter the workforce in Saudi, you think public sector first because they pay better. Now, sorry, private sector first. Now it's government first. And if you're not qualified, and it's very, very tough. A friend of mine just got a job at PIF, and I was so happy for him. I was like, how difficult was the interview process? He said 9. It's like 9? It's like 9 interviews, 2 months.
Wow.
It is PIF though. So if you don't get, and there's Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Sports, there's so many different initiatives and ministries and entities. But if you aren't qualified for that, what happens today has been a complete reversal. You then look for a job in the private sector.
So public first.
Public first. And there is a reason why, honestly, whenever his name is trending on Twitter because of his birthday, or whenever there's a project announced, or whenever he shows up somewhere, Twitter has a frenzy because he's given something that we all knew the country was capable of. But for whatever reason, we had quiet years from 80 till 2018. And all MBS did was, and I'm getting goosebumps, all he did was give the people and the country what it deserves. Really. Opportunity. Me, as a podcaster, I have no place in Saudi in 2008. Even in my very small touch point of a podcaster. Not enough to talk about. So I get to do what I do because of his empowerment and initiatives and projects and getting people in the right places, and just, World Cup 2034 in Saudi. In what world? Expo in 2030. In what world? So I know it's super cliche, but what a time to be alive, and what a time to be able to contribute to this. I had a lot of cousins, Julie, in Hong Kong, in London, Switzerland, working in the banking sector, working in the film sector. Mohammed al-Turki did a lot of time in LA. And he had in the Red Sea film. He's back. A lot of my cousins who were in the Far East and London and New York, they're now back home in Saudi. Whether it's working with Goldman Sachs, whether it's working at PIF, they're contributing. My cousin Noah Ali Reza, golf is in his blood. In his blood. Today he heads Golf Saudi.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? Like it has given the opportunity, again, no Vision 2030, none of this. It has given us the opportunity to exercise whatever our passion is for the greater good of the country.
And people are coming back, which is even more beautiful. They're coming back to their homeland.
And people are coming back. And people who aren't from Saudi are coming at a higher rate than ever before.
Well, I'm about to go to Saudi in about a month.
Better.
First time.
Let me know your dates. Riyadh?
Riyadh, yeah. Okay. It's going to be a quick trip. I think it's November 5th to the 9th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Riyadh is your New York, if you will, and Jeddah is your Miami.
Okay. Yeah, there wasn't enough time to go to Jeddah, but I will be back for Jeddah and Al-Ula.
Okay.
And the Red Sea.
Al-Ula is like our Utah.
Yeah. I love it.
No, definitely. We'd love to show you around.
So, Mo.
Are you done, or can I ask you questions?
No, this is my interview. You should have me on your podcast when I come to Jeddah, and then you can ask me the questions.
I'm going to grill you.
I've never been a guest on a podcast, so I think it makes me a little nervous, if
Save
I must
it for
confess.
Me. I'll make you unnervous.
Yeah, no, this has been so relaxing and chill, so I'm loving it.
I don't get a chance to talk much on my podcast, so if I, go verbal diarrhea, just stop me.
It's funny, as the podcaster, you are the listener. You're just there to ask the questions and listen, and I've definitely learned that.
Let me know when you want to hear a stat about the industry.
Tell me now.
80% of podcasts ever created in history haven't gotten to episode 7.
Okay.
80. So 1 in every 5 made it to episode 8. And from that 20%, 5% hit 20. What are you at?
This will be, well, the 1 year anniversary will be 28, I believe.
You're in the 90th percentile. Congratulations.
Woohoo. You too.
Isn't that crazy that because it's like a fad and it's in, you know, I'm telling you that whenever there's like a government event or whatever, it's almost like box checking. Can you come set up your studio? Okay, who am I going to get on? Whoever you want. No. What's the mission? What's the message? Do you have people that you can recommend? It's because it's hot. They just want you to do it. Because it's hot, people just started a podcast. And that's why 4 out of 5 didn't get past episode 6.
That's crazy. And you've literally become like the ambassador for Saudi when it comes to communication and information. It's amazing.
I can't tell you how much that makes me happy to represent Saudi, or to be for someone to say that I represent Saudi in some capacity, because I always wanted to represent. I wanted to do it in soccer, right? And I just, you know, when I was in Boston, you know, I focused on other things and maybe not practicing soccer. But to be able to represent Saudi in some capacity, honestly, scratches an itch that I wanted scratching from a young age. I really wanted to represent. So full circle.
It's always been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Are there certain stories or topics that feel especially important to highlight right now?
In Saudi?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't help but look, or I can't help but look beyond the work that's happening on the ground in Saudi. Like, I don't know why, just for the longest time, there's been this incorrect reputation that Saudis are lazy. That couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. You know, when I'm, especially in Riyadh, where the hours of the day are a little bit longer, I see the spirit, I see the drive, I see the dedication. These people are logging in hours till midnight. You know, if you didn't know any better, you think that they're on Wall Street or Canary Wharf. And I'm just talking Ministry of Culture. I'm talking about my friend that heads the Culinary Arts Commission. You know, I'm talking about my friends in the Film Commission or in the Fashion Commission. I'm not talking Royal Court or PIF, you know, the engine rooms of the country. I'm talking about a subject like cooking, like arts, like fashion. These people from 7, 8 a.m. up until midnight. So I think that the story to tell is just how much buy-in and dedication there is, where, you know, the moment, Julie, you stop looking at the clock, good things happen in terms of, you know, it shouldn't be input, and provided that you put X amount input, it's X amount output. It doesn't work like that. It's non-linear. So these people just work from their heart for the betterment of the country, and the passion oozes. And I think that's a story in and of itself.
How would you describe Saudi identity to somebody that's never met a Saudi or been to the kingdom?
We might have touched on this one earlier. I mean,
the people.
Yeah, you know, just the kindness, the hospitable, the welcoming, and a lot of people are just shocked when they come to Saudi and they realize that, you know, wow, that person just left their car unlocked and came back and everything was there. I think safety is something that is paramount for anyone. It's, you know, whenever you travel anywhere, you want to know, is it safe? Like, I arrived in Moscow today. After this call, I mean, I love evening walks. I really do. I don't know if it's the 42-year-old in me or what, but I was thinking that I want to go for 10,000 steps, good hour and a half after this. And so I can just fix the jet lag a little bit. But first thing that came to my mind was, is it safe? And by the way, I think Russia and Saudi share this, because we both have been misconstrued thanks to Western media. And every single person that I'm here with Saudi Airlines, they're launching a new route from Riyadh to Moscow. So I was speaking to the guys from Saudi Airlines. I'm like, guys, is it safe? They're like, don't be one of those, you know, that ask if Saudi is safe. Don't let a Russian hear you. It's very safe here. People are so nice. So, you know, anyone that is thinking, should I come to Saudi? What's going to be like? I would say don't think twice about it. And, you know, only when you do visit, will you be able to have an impression that then, you can go back to your community and say, this is what Saudi was like. And I know people Americans that have lived in Saudi for 17, 18 years, people in Aramco, people in government, people in private sectors. They hang around. They could have, like Jake, who I've had on the show, is from Huntington Beach, California. He goes back and he visits once a year, but this is home for him. He doesn't want to move back home.
Wow.
So I think the only way my advice is come and visit. Just, enough with the questions. You're going to be safer here than any U.S. city. I stand on that. And
especially now.
Especially now, we're so lucky. We're so lucky that, I don't know if it's Saudi security that puts a lot of effort to make it secure, or if we are not about that life where you have, but like mass shootings and that doesn't exist in Saudi. So I don't know if it's a mix of both. Saudis are just peaceful and security is good at the same time. But I lean more towards Saudis are just peaceful, easygoing, hospitable people. That if you're looking to, get away from that madness, then it might be refreshing to come check Saudi out.
And what do you think people around the world, and especially in the West, what do you think is their most understood thing about Saudi?
Is that they have a lot of oil and they're rich. I think that's what the image is. In short, stop watching the news, come check it out. Maybe you love it, maybe you don't. But I think, what, Julie, like that, could be applied to any country. Just don't listen to that. Like go into it. Life's too short to just go back to London and Paris every time. Especially I'm speaking to the Saudis. Go explore. Saudi Airlines now, on the subject of Saudi Airlines, they're looking to open 15 new routes in the next 12 months. Riyadh Air is coming online soon, and Saudi Airlines as well. Sleeping Giant is like, what? Let's really, make this airline something to be reckoned with. And 5 years ago, they were ranked 30 something, and this year they're ranked 17th, and they're really chipping away at that top 10 status to compete with some of the best airlines in the world that happen to be in the Gulf, namely Etihad, Emirates, Qatar. And they're opening up new routes. And my point of this rant is I think it's important to try new places and not just go to the same places over and over again. Dying to go to Scandinavia. I haven't been there, but maybe some place less plush. I want to go to Georgia. I want to go to Albania. I want to go to Baku as well. And I think Baku, Azerbaijan.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's, I had a lovely, lovely girl who's an etiquette expert, Jamila from Azerbaijan.
I watched her.
Yeah, you should get her on your show as well.
Yeah.
I think just life's too short to keep going back to what we are familiar with.
Oh, I agree.
Isn't that halfway? Like, come on. What are we doing here? Explore, explore, explore. South America. I need to go to that continent.
We should do a Brazil trip. We should do a Boston reunion in Brazil.
I keep forgetting you're Brazilian.
Yes.
Take us there. Yeah. Rio, Argentina, Belize, like there's so many spots there.
There is.
And El Salvador, a country that recently turned it around. In the span of 2 or 3 years, they went from one of the most dangerous countries in the world to one of the safest in just a short span. That's so encouraging for any country. If you put the laws in place, if you do the work, I guess he locked up all the criminals somehow and turned it around, not in a generation, in a matter of years.
Yeah.
So I think, be open-minded. And I think the moment you are open-minded, that's really when life can start for you.
Absolutely. Mo, a couple of questions before we go. We're going to do really quick ones. And then I'm going to end with the question that I end, which obviously we've touched upon because we talked a lot about Saudi. But the first one, what drives you?
Not wanting to be mediocre.
Awesome. Favorite quote?
If you knew how quickly people forget the dead, you'll never waste your time thinking, no, that's not how it goes. Although I like that one. If you knew how quickly people forget the dead, you'll never spend another second trying to impress someone. That's my second favorite one. My favorite one is obstacles are designed to unlock the strength that is buried in you. Be grateful for the hard days. They're only here to make you better.
100%.
Boom.
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 Mic
Because
drop.
that speaks to anyone going through, going through ish.
Most memorable interview.
Prince Abdulaziz, Minister of Sport, in my house, because that's when I realized I'm onto something.
And that was actually, let me ask that question. When did you realize the scale of your podcast's influence?
When his team reached out and asked me if I'd be interested in having him on.
Wow.
So that was the first one. His team saw my cousin Hussein Ali Reza, who rode for Saudi in Tokyo. And I think that was the episode that caught their attention. And they said that we would like you to host if you'd be willing to have Prince Abdulaziz on. And I said, yeah, let me think about it. It's like, of course, you guys say when and where. And 2 weeks later, 7, 8 people came to my house, his media person, his assistant, some people from the ministry. And that's when I was like, what did I do here? These people are coming for something I built. And then he pulled up to my house, and I was like, I'm so embarrassed that I didn't realize that this is happening until your people started showing up. I'm so embarrassed that we didn't set this up in your studio, in your office. And then he said, no, Mo, not at all. Is this your house? I'm like, yeah, this is my house. Thank you so much for coming. He's like, he said, I'll come once, twice, and 100 times.
Wow.
I was like, you legend. Then when we sat down, he had an iPad with answers on it, because I saw somebody launch it for him. They all left the studio. It was just me, him, and one of my very good friends who was episode 2, who knows Prince Abdulaziz. I wanted him to have a familiar face. He shut the iPad, put it aside. He's like, you know what, Mo? We're just going to have a conversation. And I was so nervous because, it was happening. I was like, about what? And my friend was like, no, Mo, he's saying that he's not going to go, he's not going to follow the script. I was like, oh, okay. Sorry, guys. I can't believe this is happening. So I had like a starstruck moment. And then 3 minutes in, it just took a life of its own. And we ended up having just that. So I think that was shit, this is for real. I built something here worthy for a minister to come to my house to put his name on it. Mama, I may have made it.
That's how I kind of feel that about having you on.
I can't.
Just saying.
I can't begin to even like. I can't because I don't think I'm deserving of that.
Stop it. Take the compliment, smile, and say thank you. That's all you got to do. Mo, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you again so we can plant more seeds and we can manifest it. Dream guest.
Dream guest. I really, really, really would like to have MBS on and not speak about politics or diplomacy or country. I would like to have him on to have the world get to know him as a person. And his sleepless nights and what keeps him up, because I know he has 19-hour days and I know he's human, and I want to know what he uses to blow off steam. I want to know what his favorite movie is. I want to know what his favorite song is. I want to know what he does for fun. I want to know where does he go when he just wants to get away from it all. I want to know what was the hardest meeting he's ever been in. That angle. I think he would do it for one reason. And I said this before publicly. He would do it when I get his attention, and I met him twice, when I get his attention enough for him to feel that I could be the Joe Rogan of the MENA region. You could be it. So I'm going to come on your show so I can make it official. and
Mm.
undisputed, and just slingshot you because I want that for you and our country. I'm gonna make you famous.
Amazing. I love it.
And obviously part and parcel is that same team, you know, I'm not going to screw anyone over with this. We're the same platform, same country, empowering. He's going to empower me and get the message across. And he, he went on Fox in English. So he is a dream guest. There are others along the way, but I'll manifest that towards him.
Amazing. Mo, as you know, this is a podcast about the Arab world, the MENA region, Arabs. What is that lasting message that you would like to leave the West with?
I would like to leave the West with a message that says us in the MENA region are a lot more sophisticated than your news channels have ever given us credit for. So just how maybe we should stop hearing the news in Saudi and in the Middle East. I think it's important for you as an individual to seek your own sources and not listen to some agenda pushed from whatever publication is pushing that agenda at that moment in time, and just go through life with your own perspective, with your own lens, and not be indoctrinated by some higher being. So seek the truth out for yourself, and just realize that we are a lot more sophisticated than we have ever been given credit for.
Perfect.
That's
Mo,
it.
thank you so much for
Very
being
well.
a guest on my podcast. 1-year anniversary. So excited. Thank you for inspiring me. Thank you for inspiring the world and sharing your humanity. And I just love how you connect with people, and you're a natural. So thank you.
I love
I-
you, Julie. Thank you. I'm so proud of you, honestly. Well
Thank
done.
you.
We'll do it
And
again time next year.
yes, we're going to do this in person, inshallah. Let's do this in person. Mo, where can the audience find you?
Instagram, Moslam_official or Mosho Pod. And that's pretty much unanimous across all our platforms. Mosho.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you. I am so grateful for all the support and love that you have given me. And don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, all the stuff that you can do with the podcast. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.